Alright, YouTube friends, got some fun stuff here today. All this kind of stems from this poor thumb right here. I won't show you the other side. It's actually not too bad. I'm 6 weeks in. I cut the flexor tendon, which is the tendon on the underside of my thumb on this finger right here on the other one. So I'm having a hard time. Like I can kind of bend. I can't really bend my finger too much. Anyway, I'm out in the garage, and so that injury kind of sparked or prompted this purchase here. I remember driving home. I literally drove my bike home from the dealership and cut my finger when I got it home, like within 5 minutes of when I got it home. So I got these guys. These are the one finger, easier pull clutch assembly. I figured I'd just go ahead and do an unboxing if anybody hasn't seen these. These are the fully adjustable, what they call the Signature Series. And these are going to go on my 2023 Softail, which is a FXLRST, the Low Rider ST. And I'm going to walk you through what that looks like. So here's just in the package, just a little bit of, all right. Sorry, I didn't realize the GoPro like went down like that, and I didn't see when that happened. So I'm not going to go back and watch it. So anyway, in the box, the one finger box. I got the set, so I got, here's the one with, here's for the brake. This actually uses the stock brake mechanism. And then here's the one for the clutch side, and you can see the clutch side has the whole assembly. So here's the stock part of that goes, here, I'll just move it over here. So here's the stock part of that went like this. The new one goes like this. So it's all included. The whole thing is included. And again, I'm having a hard time using both my hands. It even has this little piece right here. You can see right here, this piece. Sorry, my camera keeps moving around and I'm one-handed. So it has this little piece right here. So again, it has this piece right here, and what that piece allows you to do is to hit the clutch switch right here. And I think really what this switch does is when you have the clutch fully engaged, it basically allows you to start the motorcycle and stuff, right? So that it knows that you're in neutral, even if the bike is in itself in neutral. So this is going to be kind of interesting, and I don't know if you can see it's got the little port there for the rear view mirror. So I don't know if the rear view mirror is going to line up the way that it did with stock, if they're going to be symmetrical and all that stuff, but we'll see. I've already got it taken apart. You can see the line right here, and the way that you get to that is you just have to take this piece off right here, which is up here, this little piece that goes down here, and of course this thing is attached to the frame right here with these two little clips down here, which I just have hanging. But you unsheath this, and then you basically press this guy where this thing pops out over on this side, and then just press these two things together. That takes all the slack all the way up to the grip out of the clutch cable, and then you basically push this guy in and it holds it like that. When it's ready to go back, once I get everything installed, I'll mash this button again. It'll release the tension, and it should go ahead and be in a really good and kind of a perfect spot. I'm going to replace this piece right here. This little plastic piece right here tends to fail right here. And so the Fat Baggers, I'll probably do another video on that, but Fat Baggers makes a metal piece right here that allows you to Fat Baggers makes a metal piece that goes right here and allows you to just not have to worry, peace of mind, that this little plastic piece isn't going to break, because if it does break on you, you're going to have a dead clutch pedal or clutch grip, you know. So so that's not going to be good. So anyway, let's get started with the install. All right, so the next phase here is just kind of getting this thing taken apart. There's one bolt that goes in here that I took out to get this thing on here. And then the other piece is just really this guy right here. So they put the little pin on here, and they actually put a little grease in here for you. So as you put the this piece right here is going to go around that, so it'll have a little grease on there for you. I know some of the other ones actually have, and I thought I remember seeing one with this particular brand where it was just something that they screwed in. You put a little Loctite on it, you screwed it in, but I guess they like, for the grip anyway, for it to just have this little pin on there. So we'll get this guy off and we'll go ahead and start getting it hooked up. All right, so I got these things installed. They're not too bad. Unfortunately, you know, the last time around trying to get my other ones on, I had a hard time trying to get. I may end up buying another one of these covers right here. But the previous brake thing, the previous clutch, I had a heck of a time trying to figure out how that thing went back on again, and you can see it scratched up my plate right here. But otherwise, man, this is a pretty simple, pretty straightforward setup. The only thing, so for me, if you can see back in there, you can see the clutch. So this has to be depressed. If the bike is in gear and this is not pressed in, you cannot start your motorcycle. So we all have done that, right? Where it's, you know, where we know the bike's in first and we just pull the clutch all the way in and we can start the motorcycle up. So this has to, as you pull this back, it has to touch that and depress it all the way in. And so you can loosen it. In the box here, they actually have a little spot right here, which looks like it's a piece for the Allen wrench, but they screwed me. I didn't get that piece, so I had to find my own, and it's the tiny one. It's the I think it's a 1.5 metric, which that thing is little tiny. But anyway, it's got a little tiny screw right there that you poke it into, and you back it out a few turns and figure out where it needs to be, and then you just tighten it back up a turn or two. So it's pretty tight right there, and then you can just test it. So that's probably a little too tight because I can't grip it all the way. I can't bottom the grip out. So probably need to back this off a little bit and then just bring. And unfortunately, the way this thing works, it's like all the way off, or it's just sliding around everywhere. So let me get this thing fixed and I'll come back to it. All right, so I got that one in, and you can see when I pull the clutch lever in, it fully depresses that, but still allows me to bottom my clutch out here on the pedal. And again, like I said, it actually has its own piece right here, so it doesn't use the stock bits. It just has its own little piece right here that goes around, so it's a pretty easy fitment. The brake is about as easy as you can get. It's pretty much a stock replacement. The hardest part, of course, is just getting on the bottom, getting this little pin back in. The good news is if you completely detach this piece right here, you can take this piece off and flip it over upside down, and it'll actually come down and sit about right here. And you can flip it upside down, and then you can get that pin on and off pretty easy. But this is just a stock fitting. While you're in there, this bike is brand new, so it was fine, but there'll be some grease back behind here. There'll be some grease back behind here as it goes to push that in, and of course it's easy to test to make sure your brake is working good. You know, the hardest part is just fit it all back up together, especially when you're only kind of one-handed like I am right now. I'm going to put the mirrors on real quick and just see if everything is kind of lining up the same or what. I'm assuming it is just by kind of eyeballing it, but we'll see. Hold on. All right, so we got the mirrors on. I don't really have them dialed in. Yeah, it definitely feels like this mirror is moved in a little bit. If you look at how this one is kind of centered almost over that control right here, and then if you look at this one right here, you can see that it's almost to the left. So that's interesting. I guess they just didn't want to make this longer and have it stick out more that way. And you know, you can kind of see it when you're looking straight ahead. You can kind of see how this one's out just a little bit more. So I don't know, maybe that would really bother somebody. I don't think it's going to bother me. As far as the pull goes, so here's the reason that I went with these. So I cut my thumb right here, and I'm having a hard time. I'm only 6 weeks into my recovery, but I cut the flexor tendon, which is the one underneath there. So I'm, you know, able to move my thumb, but the tip, I'm not really able to get the tip around, and I just can't really grip super tight. I will be in a few months, but I always, even with the old grips, I was really, not really the grips, but the clutch pedals, I was really kind of a two finger anyway, and that's what these are. And so I don't really have any problem at all getting these two fingers around. And actually the clutch pull, it definitely feels a little bit lighter, but it's not like holy crap, wow, that's way lighter than the stock. And in fact, you know, I don't know, it kind of feels the same, because again, with the stock lever, you got more out here, which gives you a little bit more leverage. Everything is on two fingers, and everything is pulling in here. One thing I think I'm probably a little disappointed with, as I dismount here, is this part. So there's like a, oh man, I can't get the mirror out of the way here. So there's this thing down here that does like an adjustable kind of a situation here. Oh my goodness. Lord, doing this one-handed. And the bummer with it, let me see if I can get this out of the way here. The bummer with it is when you move this, it's really hard to see, I know, but all it's really doing is just like making this gap right here wider. And and of course what that does is just move, it's all done within this little space right here. Or actually it might be done up in this little space up here. It's hard for me to see it now. But anyway, as you turn this, it either just gets it moves the action of the lever either a little closer to you or a little further away from you. But for me, in my little bit of testing right here, it's like, it's not really doing much, to be honest with you. It moves that out a little bit. You can kind of see how wide that is right there, and then as I rotate it back in, it's like 10 clicks or something like that, it closes that up. So I don't know how useful that is, but either way, they're pretty smart looking grips, and I'm going to keep them on for a while. The price for this whole package, I think, is like $320 shipped to my door. And it definitely, as I sit here and do this, it definitely feels lighter for sure. It's hard to tell with my left hand, of course, because it's just kind of weak right now. But I was playing with it a little while ago and just making sure that it would go into gear. And what I do love about the way that it feels right now is that as soon as I come off right here, I'm in the friction zone. Like I'm not coming back, boom, there's a friction zone, and it's just this little space right here. As soon as I just disengage this thing off of as it's touching right here, as soon as it comes off right there, it's like already in the friction zone. So really, you know, your friction zone is in the heavy part right here, which is, I think, what you would want, you know. So I'm going to go with that. If anything changes, I'll do another video, maybe a longer term review when I get a chance to just kind of ride the bike more in general. But there you go, folks. There are the one finger brake. And so moving it down that way actually moves it. That's interesting. So on this one, moving it this way moves the handle away from you. And this one is the opposite. So that's interesting. This one, if you turn it back towards you, which would make sense, right? It brings the handle towards you. And this one, if you bring the handle towards you, it actually moves the lever away from you. So, and there seems to be fewer clicks on this one. But the brake is the brake. So, I mean, on this particular bike, you don't really get much pull anyway before you're already on the brake. And so, it is what it is on that for sure. And anyway, so that is these guys, the one finger grips on a Low Rider ST. All right guys, be safe out there.